When you do the magazine, when you did that Jack Kevorkian interview, what kind of response did you get from that?
In regards to
people,
readers,
well, I'm happy to say the Black Flame said that it was chilling, and I consider that a pretty good review. I was just myself, you know. I could be that person who probably would be calling Jack and asking for assistance. I could, you know, anyone could come down with cancer and want a way out. And it's just very cathartic for me to call these people and do something like that.
But like we said, the people who, in the magazine, we said that the people who should be thinking about committing suicide
never ever
do. That they're so self-assured that their lives have worth, and they're so obviously worthless, but they just don't have a clue that they should eliminate themselves.
Is there somebody that you haven't interviewed yet that you'd like to?
Definitely Louis Farrakhan, Jesse Helms, Johnny Reb, the racist country and western singer, Andrea Dworkin, the 800-pound feminist, who basically says that penile penetration is a crime against women. What's the guy? His last name is Jeffries. Leonard Jeffries, who's a black professor at City College of New York, who believes that the whites are ice people who are inherently evil, and that the Jews finance the slave trade and everything else. Like I said in the car, anybody has just insanely unpopular viewpoints and has not an iota of fear about expressing them is our target interview. I'm down with anybody who's willing to take an unpopular stand, is willing to sacrifice their social life in the name of their beliefs.
As far as the music goes, where do you see yourself as far as fitting in with the crowd?
Don't never see ourselves fitting in with a crowd, and I generally think that music makes people stupid after a while. I sound like a parent from the 50s, but I think it can probably be demonstrated over the years that it's music and TV combined have made people really illiterate and inarticulate, so we're not too keen on music.
Years ago, you know, in the 70s and early 80s, I guess we were both into punk, but now there's just no new music coming out, and it's very boring, and I even wrote the rant, Music Blows, and I described how I feel about going to a club, being at a show. The whole excitement is gone. I have more fun doing laundry than being at a club at this point.
Yeah, smelling like 100 people, the closed cigarettes, people sweating in your face, farting in your face, spilling drinks on you. 20 bands, each one identical to the last one. That's a fucking nightmare for us. We'd rather clean our toenails on a Saturday night than have to submit to torture like that.
It is torture. There's just no fun to it and no point.
We'd be bona fide masochists if we went to too many clubs, I think. Just couldn't handle it.
We stay in a lot.
Do you think your way of thinking is going to catch on, or is it ahead of its time, or is it?
We don't. We never.
We don't want to change.
Put out our beliefs for the sake of changing someone into thinking like we do. It's more catharsis for us, and we feel it's something that needs to be said. But as far as desiring to start some kind of movement or anything, that's the last thing we want.
Yeah.
The only reason I want to get into any kind of power is to abuse it. So.
People have called us and say and asked, how long have you been a Satanist? And we would never put a label on what we are. We're just pretty antisocial people, misanthropic.
And so the Russ Meyer told me the same thing about his movies. He says the reason people think they're so special is he was just a guy interested in really big tits. He does these movies with chicks with the biggest tits on earth, and because he's doing what he likes, people like it or whatever. There's an honesty to it that, we're not trying to be cool. We're trying to be up with the latest trend or anything. And we're not, the boring trend of anti-trendism either. We're just doing what interested, whether it's popular or not. We're not afraid to admit we would like a popular group or something, in other words.
Before we were doing the magazine, we used to do stuff like go ambulance chasing and go to Pentecostal churches and cemeteries and junkyards and do weird things, and we're just writing about our lives, basically.
The woman who introduced us said we should just write about our lives instead of writing about all these stupid bands and shit, and she was right.
And that works out the best.
Yeah.
Where do you see the magazine going?
No, boy, sooner or later into federal court, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I can't really predict the future.
Let me show you that kid in Florida is
I mean, the way
on
this
obscenity
country's
charges
going.
right now. Yeah, I mean, people think, oh, the right wing, oh, they're repressing everything. The left comes in, Clinton comes in, and he's seeking to, shut up all the gun people, all the, the racists. And I got no quarrel with any racist who's just honest in their beliefs, who's not doing it because they think, oh, their friends are doing it, or, I could probably get along better with a black racist who hates my white devil dog-fucking guts than most people in your average LA coffee house, that's for sure. But in the future, I would hope we just don't repeat ourselves, and that we been raised Catholic for 12 years and living under the specter of eternal hellfire has naturally lent me an interest in shit that's forbidden and that's unspeakable, that's improper to even bring up. So I would hope that we could keep unearthing shit that people think we shouldn't be talking about, and then I'd be satisfied.
What do you hate the most? There's one thing that you could get rid of, and one thing only that you could get rid of right now. What would it be?
At this point, I'm just sick of going to work every day and getting up at 7 a.m. and doing, data entry for a place that I have no feelings for, and just to pay the rent, what I have to do, and I'd rather just be writing and sitting at home and doing our stuff, and not having to report to somebody, and living in a place where maybe there's nice clean air, not too many people, having a lot of pets, and just peace of mind is the most important thing, and a good sense of humor, and would make me happy.
And
just feeling free.
In my case, more than just like a broad answer like the human race, it's definitely across the board insincerity. Like I said, I have no quarrel with anybody's beliefs, but if they're a hypocrite, or they're a backstabber, or they're just phony, they're trying to be something that they're not, that's what I can't stand. And that's what 99% of our hatred is based on, is that throughout our lives, friends, acquaintances, family members,
they've always let us down.
Or they'll sell you out for, a few pieces of copper or whatever. Just, I found, in all sectors of society, people are rampantly insincere. And it's definitely what I hate the most about them.
Yeah.
Liars
I agree
and
with that.
hypocrites.
Are there any magazines that you feel are just as good as your magazine, if not better?
Definitely like
Fuck from Philadelphia.
What is that magazine?
Fuck.
Fuck.
Put out by a guy who used to work in a morgue, and he prints pictures of like dead victims. He's very for abortion and anti-baby.
He sells deceased fetus trading cards.
He has a great sense of humor, and he's from corresponding with him, we never actually met him, but he just seems like a really hell of a nice guy. And he has a lot of enemies out there.
Yeah.
It seems like the ones that are always hated are the ones that are always the nicest people.
There's one that was done in the mid-'80s called Pure that, I think definitely beats us in terms of unrelenting intensity. The guy just is a great writer and writes incredibly detailed, graphic, believable, palpable things about brutality and rape. I think on that end he definitely has us beat. The difference between us and something like that is in some of the shit we have a sense of humor. Which I guess, I'm still struggling whether it's good to be brutal and humorous at the same time. I don't know if I can reconcile that, but Pure and Fuck are two of the ones that I would definitely single out for honor.
That's it, yeah.
Anything else?
Can't think of any other mags. I like reading the tabloids. I think they're a lot of fun.
The Mexican murder mags, the Mexican deformity comics are fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're probably doing stuff in Japan and Europe that I don't know about that I'd love, but it's just a matter of access to it.
I noticed in your publication you have no advertising.
Yeah.
Is that by choice, or is that...
Definitely.
It's by choice, but it's probably, by necessity, too, because I don't know how many people are going to want their boutiques ad up near a picture of the severed genitals, head, and hands of Jeffrey Dahmer. So I don't think we could sell many ads if we wanted to. But
if you found someone who would be willing to, would you?
No. We've had people offer to put ads in, but...
What type of companies?
It's like records. It was so long ago. It was Yeah, it was, I think, like a record company wanted to place like a full-page ad, but to me, it's the same as in a movie. If all of a sudden the movie stopped and you see a Pepsi ad, you'd be like, what the fuck? It like compromises it. And I don't know why people don't have the same attitude towards a magazine. To me, the ads would just get in the way of the scheme of things.
When too many people get involved in something, it always seems to ruin it too.
Yeah, we like to keep the staff down to.
Right.
Do you ever take any outside submissions for your mag?
We had,
just
out of,
artists.
I think in 3 issues we had a total of 308 pages, and 8 of those pages were written by other people, and the rest was us. That's why it takes so long to do it, because there's just so much fucking work. But that, I mean, like Debbie said, I mean, too many cooks really fuck it up, and dealing with other people's egos, and they'll get hurt if you don't use a certain part, just like I used to. I mean, I can understand what it's like to be an editor, I guess, but it's not worth. And we've had people call up offering to help us paste up and distribute and shit, but it just complicates things.
If you could just do the magazine and not do anything else, how often do you think you'd be able to publish?
3 months, maybe.
Yeah. Working a 9-hour day really gets in the way.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 132-page magazine with no ads. It's like at least 3 or 4 issues of anything else. I mean, that would be like a 200-page magazine with ads.
Plus, you come home from work, you're very tired, and this way we could, if we didn't have to go to work, we could just stay up all night and write, and then sleep all day, which we'd really prefer anyway.
Yeah, just stay up all night and do it.
Yeah, we get it out faster.
We do other projects too, like books and movies, where we have a script called The Abortionist, where I play a guy who goes in and gives abortions to women who didn't request them, unsolicited abortions. And, one called Baby Killers, which is along the same lines.
I mean, it's better than the movies that have been coming out lately. Nothing's original.
It's all popped out of the fucking computer.
And now there's Addams Family and Dennis the Menace and
now they're going.
all that crap.
They ran out of movies to redo, so they're redoing all the fucking TV
recycling all the
shows.
old stuff from 20 years or 30 years ago.
Hang on a second. Cameron, do you have a Ben and Dead magazine upstairs?
I'd have to go through a ton.
Exactly. Where the conclusion of the interview, you show the magazine and you toss it in.
I guess I already mentioned it, but I hate to publicize people I hate, so to even bring attention to them, to one person.
Yeah.
What happened to Married with Children?
Right.
What happened?
No, the woman started protesting them, and they got better ratings than ever.
Became the number one show for a while.
No, I mean, I confronted that girl over the phone. She just gave me a load of shit, like she really liked the mag, but a couple of her staffers did, and I'm like, all right, well, I want to talk to the guy, because I don't think it's fair to call somebody who busts his nuts 7 days a week working upper middle class. And she's like, okay, I'll have him call you. You know, fucking call him. They're afraid of the truth. I mean, if there's one thing I can say positive about myself is if I find I'm doing something wrong, I change it. And you know, any faults I have, I'm blind to. That's why they're still faults and not corrected.
All right, but within the floors, don't you find the truth within the floors?
Find truth about?
About just yourself, the magazine, what it's all about.
I guess in flaws, I mean, like if I hurt somebody I love, or just do shit that's just, destructive towards my own life, I'll correct them. Or being a dick to somebody who wasn't a dick to me, that I kind of look way down on. And if I find myself doing that, I'll usually apologize to the person.
When people meet